Giờ quay phim.
Đẹp hả?
Chụp ba nó đẹp để quay sướng đi rồi mình lại chụp. Lên lầu thôi chị, lên lầu. Còn cái video phim thì nó không cho lên lầu rồi. Tôi quay vô được chưa? Con vô bác không đẹp. Không. Thủy tinh á.
Nó làm mấy con
Con con phụng như con kia. Con này đẹp con nó. Ồ, bướm bướm nè em. suy nghĩ. Đẹp quá em rồi. Nó lạc đà. Như một bộ chuông. Nó coi này nè, coi đây. Chính là trẻ đẹp.
好，二位看这个。哦，这个是
Đang ngủ.
都是会，就是正好我今天。
Không cần.
咱们也要去你啊。
It would expand into the glass, creating a starter bubble. Right now it's probably got a bubble the size of maybe a golf ball in there. So every vessel that you see on this stage, including this flower and that rabbit down there, started with a bubble. So Dave cooled that bubble, and he's gathering more glass. Can we get an animation? So this is the process. Here's a nice little cutaway of the furnace. We've got a ceramic pot holding all of that glass. And so every time Dane gathers more glass, he's going to come out with 2 to 3 times the mass which he started. And so like Dane was cooling that bubble before he went in there so it wouldn't disrupt the form that he created and it wouldn't melt into our furnace and contaminate our furnace. Now Dane is equalizing the heat. He's letting heat back into that bubble so that he can start blowing it out. This is my favorite tool in the hot shop. It's called newspaper. Resource local is the Corning reader. Sorry, meter. So yeah, it's about 10 to 12 sheets of paper folded up, soaked in water. It's the closest Dane is going to get to holding this glass in his bare hand. So with our metal tools like the blocks that he was using, those scoops, carved from cherry wood soaked in water, when the hot glass touches the waterlogged wood material, it creates a pocket of steam, and the glass rides on that. That paper won't get much hotter than a cup of coffee. So Dane was just putting a jack line into what will be the neck of this vessel. This is a designated breaking point, much like a Hershey bar or a Kit Kat. Now the Hershey bar doesn't have really deep, really tight grooves in it, so it doesn't always break evenly. The Kit Kat has really deep, really tight grooves, so it always breaks crisp. So that's the idea of this, to make the glass break exactly where you want it to, in a uniform fashion. So those jacks, they're basically a pair of tweezers. The blades are similar to a butter knife. We coat the blades and the strap with beeswax that acts as a lubricant so that the metal and the glass don't fight with each other. Looks like Dane is cooling down that neckline. He doesn't want this piece to be able to move on that breaking point he created. Heather's breaking over a foot. This is a great illustration of the flowing properties of glass. As soon as Heather stops turning, it will fall. It wants to go straight to the floor. Dane is controlling that. He used a pair of diamond shears to cut it off. These diamond shears won't leave a flat point. So Dane is using a graphite paddle right now. It's similar to the wood paddles that we have, but the graphite takes some of the heat out of the glass. That's the purpose of Dane using it right now. He wants to cool this glass more quickly. Heather's got a punty ready for him. This is going to be a handle, so when they break it off with the blowpipe, they can carry it back to the furnace. They can open up the mouth. They can open up the neck. This is a very temperature-sensitive process. I can tell you from experience, I've lost a lot of pieces at this point. This is meant to be a temporary bond, it's not a permanent fuse. Awesome. So a sharp tap on the blowpipe and it came free, just like it was supposed to. That was excellent. Can we get a round of applause? Yeah, it was perfect. The bowl didn't go crashing to the floor. You know? It came off of the blowpipe, just like it was supposed to. Looks like Heather's preparing a wrap now. This is a very good indication that a piece of glass has been handmade. No machine can duplicate this process of attaching one piece of glass to another piece of glass, especially of different colors. Another good way to tell if a piece of glass has been handmade is to look for that punny scar on the bottom of the vessel. And while you're looking for that punny scar, you'll probably see a price tag. Another good indication. So you'll see Dane performing two kinds of heats. We've got a focus heat right here where he's trying to get that lip, which has been the closest to the blowpipe. It's been the last thing to go into the furnace, it's been the first thing to come out, and it's been sitting next to that steel, which has been stealing the heat away from it. So he wants to get that really hot so that he can move it. He spent a lot of time forming and shaping the back end while it was still on the blowpipe, so he doesn't want to get that part hot enough to move. But he has to maintain an overall temperature of greater than 900 degrees Fahrenheit throughout the entire process. If it drops below that, either sitting in the open air or being reintroduced to the furnace, this piece will crack and break. And so you can see that glass can stretch thinner than a human hand. And Dane was able to just cast it off. That end is already cool. It's probably a little bit brittle. The stuff closer to the pipe is still 2,000-ish degrees. And so, anybody wondering how we got the furnace inside of our camera? I'm sorry, the camera inside of our furnace. Yeah. So there's a plate of fused silica glass at the back of the furnace. It was developed here in Corning in the 1930s. They didn't have a use for it. It's exorbitantly expensive. That plate back there is probably $500. it melts at well over 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Our reheating oven is about 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. That glass in the back, that's used for space shuttle windshields and windows for exiting and entering the atmosphere. It's also used for optic fiber. Are there any questions? I'll be down here when it's over if you think of anything. So pay attention to the screens, pay attention to Dane. He's about to drastically change the shape of this vessel using centrifugal force, just speed of rotation and heat. And then he'll probably exploit a little bit of gravity as well. And so the longest part of the process is yet to come. This piece can't sit out at room temperature. We talked about that. Thicker and thinner sections are going to cool at different rates. And the overall glass is just going to break. So we have to put it into what's called an annealing oven. This is a kiln. It's held at 905 degrees Fahrenheit throughout the day. All right, everybody, Dane Jack. I hope you guys had a great time.
Is that you cut through the rod and get little discs, and then those are made up into a different pattern. Again, heated so that they all fuse together, and eventually you'll end up with a piece of glass, a single piece of glass like that, made up of all these different designs. And that would be heated again until it's just soft enough to slump into a form like that, take the shape of it, and make a mold. So fairly complicated, very time consuming, but very, very beautiful, effective.